Hello and welcome back to X-tricated. I am DDB and with me is KB. KB, how are you doing? Good morning.
I'm very good. How are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm excited for this episode. Guys, thank you very much for the love for the previous episode. Thank you so much for the feedbacks. We really appreciate you. Again, you can find us on Extricated on Instagram, and on Twitter you can find us on Extricated Podcast or at X underscore Tricated. That's our social media handles. So last week when we were recording our episode, the episode about the Queen's burial and foreign policy, me and KB were discussing, and we said, okay, fine. I came up with a question. I said, is it? What do you think, KB? Is it right for Nigerians, or is it worth celebrating the independence that we got in 1960? So I just asked him that question, and he had an opinion that was different from mine. And today you're gonna know about it. So, KB, how excited are you about this episode today?
Oh well, I am very excited. I actually wanted to, I couldn't hold my excitement, but I have to say I am very very excited for this episode. Not just because we're recording the episode, but because Independence Day is almost upon us, and I am a patriotic citizen of Nigeria, and I am excited to celebrate Independence Day of Nigeria.
Okay, so
So
are you saying it's worth celebrating?
yes, it is worth celebrating, of
Oh,
course.
okay, all right. Continue celebrating fake independence, too, because that's what I think it is. But anyway, it's still you that will come and say,
Why on earth do you think that is independence?
wait. First of all, let me even ask you this question. Let me throw a question back to you, right? Do you think Nigeria is going through or undergoing or receiving neo-colonialism at the moment?
Well, neocolonialism
Uh huh.
is almost inevitable
Okay.
in developing countries
All
when it comes to
right.
developing countries.
Okay.
But Nigeria does not have it as bad as most other countries. Nigeria still
Okay.
has a level of power and will I call it authority or autonomy when it comes to making decisions, especially
Okay.
on the international stage. They do
Okay.
not make decisions based on what people are forcing them to make based on help that they've gotten from other countries or based on deals that they're getting with other countries. They still make their decisions based on how they think or how the president thinks it should be. You understand? So while I think that neocolonialism is a thing, I don't think it affects Nigeria. But even
Okay.
if it does, it doesn't affect Nigeria significantly.
All right. So now, thank you for answering that question. So, we all know that Nigeria got independence in 1960, right? But that was just celebratory reasons for 1st of October 1960 official day. But I think 1958 they decided that yes, Nigeria was going to gain in their independence in on 1st of October 1960. Now, I want us to date back to 1900, right? When I think the British Empire came into Nigeria in the 1880s, but in the 1900, right, beginning of that century, they created and divided the country into two, right? The northern and southern protectorate of Nigeria, right? And then after World War One in 1914, they officially made it an administrative division, right? Now it's still under Nigeria, Nigerian protectorate of Nigeria, right? Then over the next couple of years, over the next decades, right, there was tension between three different parties of in Nigeria, three different ethnic groups of Nigeria. That is the East, West, and then the North, right? Now, that was on their own. That was Nigerians, right, without the influence of British Empire. Now, during that same period, right, when they were having this conflict, these people started saying that the British Empire came and then started to make them to go away from their religion, from their cultures, and everything that they've been brought up with, right? And they started revolting And they kept revolting, and they started talking about independence. They want to be independent and all that, which is okay, right? But now this is conspiracy theory. This is my own opinion. This is just my guess that I feel that after World War II, the British Empire was drained of money, capital that they were not able to manage Nigeria, right? So, okay, fine, give them what they wanted, right? Just give them the Freedom Charter, let them have their independence, right? But then guess what? Immediately after that happened, after we got the independence, right? Yes, they celebrate and everything. Guess what? There were 312 seats, House of Assembly, House of Representatives, right? And guess what happened? There were three parties. There was the Northern People's Congress. That was the it was largely Hausa and Fulani, right? Then we have the National, and then they got 134 of that 312 seats, right? Then we had the National Council of Nigerian Citizens. That was largely Igbo, right, and Christian-dominated people of the eastern region of Nigeria, right? And they got 89 seats. And then Action Group gained 73 seats. And that ushered in this whole situation of Biafra. That ushered the whole situation of the North, the West, and the East, right? Yes, they got independence. But at the end of the day, you got independence for what? Just for you to fight power. So it's been there all this while. So the leaders that we keep celebrating, saying that they got independence for us, or we got independence, they themselves went back and started fighting each other, right? Because, and then instead of us to become unified as what the Nigerian anthem said, which was created during that period, right? They went straight back to define the national anthem. So why are we celebrating the independence? Me, I feel it is. You should celebrate the efforts and everything they said initially. It was right. But at the end of the day, we're not doing things that are expected of us that we should have done to actually maintain ourselves, maintain the religion, the culture. Let's be honest. What we fought about, the culture, religion, and everything, are we not moving away from them at the moment? So that's my opinion. KB.
Okay. I have listened to your to your take, and let me pick out some things that you said. So you mentioned that you think that the United Kingdom got tired, or they could not take care of Nigeria after the war. They had no resources.
That's just a guess.
But
But I know that
yeah,
they had no. But,
that is again, it's a very wild guess.
but I know that they ran out of resources. They ran out of resources because they were
Yes.
they were in
Yes.
debt after World War II.
I would ask you though, as a colonialist, if you were a colonialist and you run out of resources because of a war you fought, why can't you just go back to the countries that you colonized to get more resources? I mean, this is a country that is very rich in minerals, rich in agricultural prospects and everything. Why can't you just go back, double your efforts in that country to get back the resources that you want?
Because
It's how
because
um
because one, right? Because one, at that particular point, right, the Nigerians were revolting against me. So if I am a colonialist and these guys are not cooperative enough, I'm not going to get what I want. And at the same time, I'm going to spend a lot of money to say, okay, fine, I want to brainwash them again, because they are way beyond brainwashed at the moment. They know what I want, right? They know that I'm going to brainwash them again. So it's going to be wastage of money, and then there's no guarantee that I will be able to get what I want. And at the moment, I'm so low on cash, so it's better I don't even try to do it. It's better I just use the reserve that I have and use it for myself, right? And put it to good use other places.
okay. So the people of Nigeria wanted independence from them, and they decided, okay, we can give it to them right now. It does. There's no reason why we cannot why we can hold this anymore, right? So, well, let me concede that to you. Secondly, you mentioned something about deviating from the religions that were already being practiced and what have you.
Religious
Um,
cultures and
yeah,
values.
yes. Let's look at it this way. Before the British came into Nigeria, there are different religions being practiced. Like Islam was already even established in the northern part of
Very established.
well,
Very,
let
very,
me not
very
say
established.
let me not say Nigeria because Nigeria didn't exist then, but in the northern region, you understand, because it has already spread,
Before
and then
Nigeria
we're
was
seeing
created, Islam was established in Nigeria before the 17th century
exactly.
in Nigeria. So
So
Islam has been there for a
how
while.
much of that changed in northern Nigeria? Isn't northern Nigeria still mostly practicing Islam? And also, to that point, if you say, okay, they've revolted against the religions that were being introduced, the British people didn't force the religion on the Southerners. They did not force the religion. They came, the colonialists were different from the missionaries. You understand? The missionaries came with their own agenda, while the colonialists came with their own agenda. So tying them together is actually like saying that a war basically brought Christianity to Nigeria.
Huh?
So um, these people say they revolted. We don't want a religion. Blah 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 blah. So I want to tell you something. One of the core principles of independence is that principle of self determination. When you say you want to be independent, it means that you want to do as you like. If you want to be ruled by somebody else, you say, okay, fine, this is my choice. I want to be ruled by this person. If you say you want to be ruled by yourself, you be like, okay, this is my choice. I want to be ruled. I want to be ruled by someone that looks like me, or someone that has the same faith with me, or someone that has the same cultural background, or what have you. So now you have the choice of different religions within the country, and you've looked at it, you're like, okay, I like the merits of this religion. I like the tenets of this religion rather. So it actually speaks to me. I'm not being forced into it. I've decided that, oh, okay, I'm going to take this religion. So if you decide that you wanted to stay with traditional practices or what have you, you could stay with traditional practice. If you were a Muslim before the British came, you could have still remained as. In fact, even many people still remain Muslims as the British were in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the British people. It's not like the British people even said, "Oh, you must become a Christian." You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
No, everybody had the freedom to practice whatever they wanted, but with the independence, that freedom even increased more. You understand?
Okay.
And
But then
um,
you're now proving my point to some extent, right? Or even bringing
no,
up
I'm not proving the
a
point.
new. You're not, even if you're not proving my point, right? You're coming up with another point, not for me, but to say that Nigerians at that point they were confused. Yes, they were like teenagers, right? Teenagers wanting their freedom, right? But at the end of the day, they don't know how to do what to do with that freedom. You understand? You get, so they wanted,
Or
yes,
as they
yes,
got the freedom, they now decided to explore, and
exactly.
then they decided what
I
was best for them.
Yes, now that's the typification of what freedom is, right?
But
That
wait. I've
okay.
not finished dissecting what you said.
All
So
right, fine. Talk.
let me go back a little bit. You know you talked about the World
Yeah,
War.
yes.
Um, you know during the World War, many of the countries involved had forceful conscriptions from their colonies. You understand? So if you lived in that era and somebody came and told you, Germany is fighting England and who now? And USA. So because England is your colonial master, they are now coming to forcefully conscript you into the British Royal Army to go and fight on their behalf. And then when you go there, because you know you are inferior in quotes, they put you in the front lines. You know, you go and become bullet fodder. You understand? And so many Nigerians, so many Africans in general, over 1.3 million Africans were conscripted into the armies of their colonial masters.
So that
And
was
you know that
that was slavery.
Britain was
That
one of the main actors in that World War II. So you can just
yes.
imagine how many Nigerians were conscripted into the British Royal Army to go and fight
Okay.
for a war that had nothing to do with them.
All
Why
right.
would you want? Why would you want to be in that position?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you want? If I want to fight a war, shouldn't it be a war that is for my own interests?
Okay. Wait.
Would,
Wait. Wait.
shouldn't,
Okay.
shouldn't it be a war
Okay.
that would
Okay.
determine peace in my
Okay.
own region?
All right. First,
So
granted.
if,
Granted.
if
I.
I become independent, from those colonialists, wouldn't
Uh-huh.
I be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't I be happy that I won't have to go to war? I won't have to see my children go to war for another
Uh-huh.
man's problems. You
Yes.
understand?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So,
Wait. As we're saying this, Nigeria got independence, right? Nigeria got
yeah.
independence, right? Now, Nigeria have issues here in Nigeria, security issues, right?
Yes.
Do you know that they signed treaties with United Nations? You know of that. They've started signing
Yes.
treaties to keep peace in other nations because of the
Yes.
mandates in United Nations, right?
Yes.
Is that not another way of fighting another man's battle?
But does it interest you? You first of all have to ask yourself, does it really interest you?
That's the
If,
question. Are you just
like,
doing it?
wait
Wait,
now.
are you just doing it? Are you just doing it
I want to, I want to give,
for?
I want to give you an example. Last week when we were talking, I mentioned ECOMOG. If Nigeria shines very well when it comes to ECOMOG, the peacekeeping missions, under the flag of ECOMOG. Why would Nigeria fight in in the West African countries? Because the interests of Nigeria lie in the West African West African sub-region. You understand?
Okay.
So if I'm sending my troops out to fight in, say, Cote d'Ivoire, it's because these are countries that are close to us. We do not want tensions to escalate to the point where it will become a security problem in the rest of West Africa. So it
Okay.
is our interest
Okay.
now. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
So that is an example.
So let
So
me.
that is not another man's war. That is a war that, okay, fine, it's another man's war, but it is a war that you have an interest in. But then
Okay.
if you now look at the World War II of that time, what interest did Nigeria have in Germany or in England or in France at the time?
No,
There was no interest there.
yeah, I
They're just
actually
going to
agree with
fight for the
that.
war.
I actually agree with that. I'm just trying to tell you that it's still happening today. That's just what I'm trying.
Okay.
That's just what I'm saying, right? I agree with you what you said, right? Now coming
Yeah,
back.
it is happening, but at least we are not forced into going to fight
Okay,
a war
so
that
so
we have
KB,
no interest in. That's
so
my
KB,
point.
KB, let me ask you this question, right? We got independence, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, point blank, yes or no answer. Are we independent?
Mm-hmm.
Are we truly independent?
I'm totally independent.
Are we truly independent?
We are truly, totally independent. Quote me
And you believe
anywhere. I
and you
said
believe
so.
that you believe that you believe that Nigeria as a nation can do whatever they want to do without the directive of a certain past colonial master?
Yes,
Really?
we can.
Okay. All right. I do,
Which
I don't believe that.
will
I
Britain come and stop us if we say we want to annex Benin Republic or
see
something? I don't know.
look, it's not about
Will they come and stop us?
they can't
Answer now.
see look, they can't stop us. They see
They can't come and stop us.
wait. They can stop you, right? But not look at what France is doing to francophone countries. For example, look at what France is doing to francophone countries, right? At least
Is Nigeria a francophone country?
wait. At least theirs is open, and we know that France actually, like, the way they treat francophone countries is not really proper, is not in the right manner, right? But if you look at it, right, they gave them independence, but they're not truly independent. In a way, they're still,
Exactly.
you get,
I agree with you
so now,
100%.
and that still happens in Nigeria with UK, with England.
Can you give an example?
I cannot give an example right now. I
Because
cannot. But that's where my argument here is going to just go void, null and void, right? This argument is going to go null and void.
oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I already know, but I have to bring it up, right? And this argument is going to go on over and over again. Next year, I'm going to bring these examples, right? But let's be honest, there are certain decisions that Nigeria cannot make without United Kingdom privy, getting privy, getting
you,
access.
if you should come today and tell me that Nigeria, let's say, okay, let me use China as an example. Now, I see what's happening with Thailand and Hong Kong and everything.
Yes.
You know where the pressure is coming from. The pressure is coming from the United Nations. It's not coming from anybody. You understand? It's the same thing that would happen if Nigeria were to be involved in something like that. Like I jokingly said that time, if we were to decide today that I want to annex Benin Republic.
Yes.
Sorry to any Benin, but just an example. If we decide that I want to annex them, United Kingdom, even if they are against us, cannot come and stop us from doing that. All they can do is to like probably send delegates, maybe their foreign minister or what have you, to come and talk with us like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But nothing will change. It doesn't necessarily have to change if you don't want to change it. They cannot come and force us and say you cannot do this. We are telling you not to do this. The pressure can be mounted at the level of the United Nations, and even at that, if we have the power, the support of other countries behind us, there's nothing that is going to stop us from doing that.
No, I agree
doing
with
whatever
that.
we want.
I agree with
You understand?
that. I agree with that. I agree with that, right? I want to get my hands on that freedom charter, the agreement of that independence. Freedom charters are what you give to countries that you just gave independence to, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
inside those freedom charters are agreement and then set policies that those countries you're giving independence to have to live by, right? So that freedom charter on its own, right, is basically telling you that, okay, fine, this is you have your freedom, but these are the guiding rules based on our freedom charter, right? Now, I don't know what the rules are for the freedom charter, Nigeria's freedom charter, right? I don't know whether it's even public. It's not public. South Africa's what's it called? Freedom charter is public out there, right? Nigeria's public freedom charter is not out there. I tried finding it. I've not seen it. So I'm still there. So this is me saying I'm going to invest my time into finding that, at least to find what it entails, right? What they have privy to, what they have first dibs on, more like, right? For
But
example,
let me jump in actually. We've looked at over the years now. We've looked at Nigeria, we've looked at Ghana, we've looked at compare them to the francophone countries around us. We see the difference in what Nigeria and Ghana are doing and what those French countries around us can or cannot do. And I think it is already giving us a good insight to what is contained inside the Freedom Charter. You understand?
Okay.
If France had given them, I think it's all about negotiation. To be honest, it's all about negotiation. And if we are being very honest, the founding fathers of Nigeria's independence did their work perfectly, or they did their work very well. Because if you notice what is going on with those countries colonized by, let's say, France or Belgium, and you look at what you have here, you compare it. You have to applaud them.
No.
You understand? Because
Do you
we
know
are
that?
not.
Do you know that I'm not?
We are not as
I don't want us to
what?
actually compare ourselves to those countries, right? We're from different colonial masters.
Why not though?
We're from a different colonial master. If I want to compare myself, right? I want to compare myself with South Africa. I want to compare myself with India, right? And we got independence towards the same era. You understand? And
Okay.
let's say
So,
we get India and South Africa are doing much better than us. Based like when
yeah.
it comes to economy,
Yes.
when it comes to
Yes.
freedom, when it comes to exposure, when it comes to having that
Mhm.
stability, right? Like on a global
Okay.
level, right? Now, the economy of Nigeria, yes, is the biggest, right? Because we are populated, right? Over 200 million people. It's not the same number with South Africa, right? GDP per capita, right? Gross domestic product per capita, they are way better than us. You get
Mm-hmm.
the amount of money that they make per the amount of people that is available in that country. They are way better than us, and that's for me. That's the best what's it called measure for economic growth or
Okay.
economic and what's it called, right?
So, so what you are saying, if I understand you well right
Yeah.
now, is that
Uh-huh.
I shouldn't compare Nigeria with um former
Francophone.
French colonies. You
Yes, from
understand?
yeah, from
And
francophone
you
countries.
brought up
Yes.
two examples
Yes.
of former
How
English
yes,
colonies,
yes. How are those
which are India and
South Africa?
South Africa.
Yes.
Okay, and you mentioned how you took a look at how they are performing and what have you. Now,
Yes.
okay, maybe that is good enough to go away from my point of the founding fathers of our independence being very good negotiators,
Mm-hmm.
and going towards England being poor negotiators.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you have to think about it. I mean,
No, no, no. I'm
this
not.
this is this
As I said,
this is a colony.
I
It's hard to
said,
let go of. So
I said,
maybe you can actually give them credit for that. Oh, these people actually finessed England. Though.
wait.
These people
As
might
I
these people
said,
might have been really good
as
at
I said,
negotiation.
as
But,
I said,
but wait, wait
KB.
now, David. Wait.
All right, fine.
So maybe we had luck. Maybe had luck on our side. Still, that should also point to you, okay, it should be something that we should be grateful for. That, okay, we weren't in the same situation as those French countries, which will have which will have some extra, how will I put it, terms and conditions in their own contracts, in their charter. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to still have some level of control over them and all that. We don't have that. Yes, India and South Africa have been able to use that opportunity to advance very far. Doesn't mean that Nigeria is not advancing. I mean, they are better than us. Doesn't mean that
Mm.
we aren't doing what we can with the freedom that we
Okay.
got.
All
You
right.
understand? Yes,
All
our
right.
own goes slower, but still, we should be thankful for the fact that we don't have those restrictions on us. So
So
we have the ability to move wherever we want to move. You
look.
understand?
Okay. Now let me make my point first, like very clear. Beginning of this episode, I said credit. I actually gave credit to the founding fathers. Right. Let's be honest. Right. The founding fathers really did a good job. Those guys. Their intentions, everything was right. The only thing that I picked from them that I said they made a mistake was then to jump back into dividing the nation into three again, right? Because they created three parties, you get, and then these three parties were based on ethnic groups, you understand, and geopolitical zones, you understand. So that created enmity, and that created that power hustle since then, because the North now just claimed a whole aspect, like one, I think more than one quarter, right, of the political stand or political quarter in Nigeria, right, when you come at that point, right, and then till today is the same thing, yeah, because we have 19 states, we have the biggest landmass in the North, right. Now, let's keep that aside, right. When I said South Africa and India, right, the way they gained their independence was hard fought. It was not like ours. Ours was easier than theirs. You understand? And they are actually taking that what's it called? How am I going to say this now? Right? They allowed the United Kingdom to actually have that footprint, have that sustainable systems in those countries, and they created and they built on it. Right now, Nigeria gained independence and then went back to start fighting each other again. After 6 years, we had coup. From then, we kept
Um,
having issues. You understand?
Okay, okay,
So
wait.
from there,
Are you
wait now.
saying that? Are you saying that? Are you saying that in India and South Africa there wasn't any form of
No, no,
conflict that
no. There
occurred after
were,
independence?
there were conflicts. There were conflicts.
Between who and who?
Between themselves.
Was it not between? Yes, within
Between
themselves.
themselves,
So
they had those conflicts, right? Now,
exactly, things like that are bound to happen.
they are
You
bound to
understand?
happen, right?
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I just have to say this. I have to say this.
I say it.
We Nigeria, as it was constructed, was already a problem to start
Exactly.
with.
It
You
was a
understand?
problem. Yeah.
It was already a problem, especially
Yes.
when you consider, the regions, the north, the west, and the east. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? They were so different. They are so different, and you're now putting them together. So now, when you now give these people independence, obviously they have to have their identity. Is the identity that they will use to form their political parties before they will now come and start mixing. Today, we have political parties in APC, in PDP, in Labour Party. You are going to see northerners, the people from southwest and people from southeast, south, all in the same party. You understand? It
Uh-huh.
wasn't it wasn't always going to start just like that. You understand? They had to have their identity first and now come in to and you mentioned this. They were warring let me not call them warring factions, but they differed amongst each other. They
Yes.
almost in fact, to the point of war. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? We had a civil war and all that.
Yeah.
But today we are still standing. Today we are still together. These people are still contributing, whether it's the Igbos, the Hausas, the Yorubas, everybody contribute, and the other smaller ethnic groups. Let me also mention smaller ethnic groups because I belong to smaller ethnic groups. Let me not mention only Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. These people are all contributing at different levels in the development of this country. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
So we are still standing together because of that reason. Despite the fact that, oh, okay, we had this difference, we settled the difference. Okay, yes, it is rearing its ugly head again, but still we are able to hold together. Today we have three presidential candidates contesting, all from three different zones, from the north, the west, and the east. The initial three regions that were created.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If anything, it proves inclusiveness
Wait.
in
It.
Nigeria.
Wait. It.
Imagine,
Wait. It didn't.
imagine only Northerners were contesting right now. Do you think that the Southerners will be happy?
Wait. It talks about inclusiveness as you just mentioned, right? But
Yeah.
we keep. But let's be honest, right? If you listen to what northerners talk about south, not every northerner, by the way, I'm a northerner, you're a northerner, right? Not every
Mm,
northerner, right, is defensive of, let's say, saying, okay, this one is from the north, this one is from the east, right? They're actually looking at the person and say, okay, fine, is that person right, is that person not right, which is good, right? Now, at the end of the day, right, my point here is that we are, I feel we're living in fake independence, right? That is me, right? Not based on facts. I feel we're living based on fake independence. Fine, we should celebrate, right? But for me, as personally, I it's another day. It's not worth celebrating for me. Why am I celebrating? I'm celebrating freedom of what? I want someone to change my mind on this. You get?
You are celebrating, you are celebrating freedom to be somebody, to be who you are under your ethnic group, under a particular set of people, not being controlled by another set of people on across only God knows how many only God knows how many miles across the sea. They didn't
Okay.
come from somewhere to come and tell you how to live your life. If
Okay.
okay, let me tell you
But at
something.
that point,
Uh,
during that
today,
period,
today,
during
wait.
during that period, did
Today,
they say
today,
that? Did they control how I live my life during that period? At
today,
that point,
wait now. For the
how?
okay,
Wait,
let me put this to you. Let me
you're not
put this to you.
you're
I
not
mentioned
contradicting
that.
yourself. You're contradicting yourself because
I mentioned to you that during the World War,
uh
during
huh,
World War Two,
uh huh,
a lot of Nigerians were conscripted into the British Royal Army. Did they
uh
go
huh.
and fight there as Nigerian Army or as the Royal Army? Which one?
They are under the monarchy.
They fought under the Royal Army. You
Yeah,
understand?
that's what I'm
So
saying. They fought under the
today,
monarchy.
whatever victories Nigeria has
Okay.
if okay, look at the performance of Toby Amusan in the Commonwealth Games.
Uh-huh.
You understand?
Yes.
Look at her performance. Would you come and say now that, oh, okay, imagine if Toby ran all those races, won them, and they now say, okay, this person is from Great Britain. Aren't you going to feel somehow? You understand? Aren't you going to feel weird that, oh, this person, this person is from your village, but they're saying that she's a British person? Won't you feel weird? Won't you feel that you have been cheated? You understand? So many victories that Nigeria has had, even when it comes to peacekeeping, when it comes to intellectual, I call it superiority. We have doctors, we have engineers, we have so many people that have made their mark in the world. Do you think if we were still under our colonial masters or our former colonial masters, that those people would have been identified as Nigerian? They would have been identified as people that you can actually relate to. Wouldn't they be identified as British people? Don't you think? You
Okay, fine.
understand?
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Eh?
Wait. Calm down first. Calm down.
Isn't that
Calm,
what
calm down.
celebrating? Isn't that
KB,
what celebrating, bro?
You finally convinced me that it is worth celebrating. You finally just guilt tripped me on certain parts. But anyway, that you're right. You're right. But I still feel Nigeria has a long way to go.
There's no more discussion, there's no more debate,
Wait.
bro.
I am not
Just
debating.
just agree. Roll over.
I am
Roll
not debating.
over.
I am not debating whether it's worth celebrating or not anymore. I am not. What I am saying now is that what do we have on ground? Because I read an article and someone is saying that why is worth celebrating is one of the reasons is because we have democracy. We live in a democracy, in a democratic government. To be honest,
A true democracy for that
are,
matter.
are we in a true democracy? Do we
A
practice
true
true?
democracy.
Really?
Nobody since Obasanjo became president.
Really?
When Obasanjo became president, okay, I know that Obasanjo actually attempted to do third term. If we weren't operating a true democracy, don't you think he would have succeeded? Don't you think he may have still been in power till today? You understand?
What is the definition of true democracy?
uh, it means that people have the right, people have the responsibility to vote for who they
It's
want.
all about the voice of the
if
people,
if it
right?
wasn't if it wasn't in the law, we won't have that right. You understand?
Okay.
And why was it in the law? Because the checks and the balances provided by the legislative arm of the government
Uh-huh.
ensured that it was there. You
Okay.
understand?
All right.
They ensured that when Obasanjo was seeking out that third term, they prevented it from happening. You
Okay.
understand? They did
Okay.
not they did not support his bid. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they did, who knows, maybe they will still be there. I mean, there are some African countries that have been having the same president since like the 70s. There is one, is it Gabon or Equatorial? It's Equatorial Guinea, right? That the president has been there for over how many years now? Over 20 something years, and his son is his vice president. Would you call that a true democracy? I mean, Nigeria has developed a true democracy, a democracy that is actually worth celebrating. You understand?
But there's
No
there,
matter what,
there,
if,
there- see
if an election comes today,
there's still a lot more improvement to be made.
yes, I agree with you. There's a lot
There's
of
a lot of
improvement to
improvement to
be
be made.
made.
Yes,
There's a
even
lot of
if
improvement to be made. But don't you think that what we have right now is worth celebrating? Do you think we are operating a monarchy
now let me
where only one person has the
let me
final say?
let me go back to what you said, right?
Mm.
Internally we have independence, right, from any other person. We can rule ourselves, do whatever we want to do, right, in the country, right, based on the laws that we've set. That is agreed upon, right? I have agreed on that, which is worth celebrating. That is worth celebrating, right? But on an international level too, it is worth celebrating, right? But I still feel this debate just came from a point where I feel there was mistakes in the setting up of the structures that we had in Nigeria right from the beginning, right? And then coming to a point where we deviated to the democratic rule, right? So for example, the constitution, it needs to be revamped, right? It cannot be done overnight, but it needs to be revamped. Now, it takes me, as you're talking, right, it takes me to even think and say, okay, fine. The United States of America, of all people, did not become this great over 50 years, I mean 60 years. It took them
Exactly.
over 100 years to actually have
Of
a very
democracy.
strong democracy, right? That
Of
is number one.
democracy.
Yes,
To be specific, you understand? Because Nigeria hasn't even undergone 60 years of democracy.
yes, it's just
We
21.
we
It's just
haven't reached
21.
25
It's just
years.
21
We haven't
years.
reached 25 years of democracy.
You
You
get,
understand?
you get.
So you understand it takes time.
It takes time.
Over
Now,
time, everything improves. Over time, everything will improve. You understand? So
yes,
yes, that's actually a point. Yes, there are things that need to be improved. There needs to be adjustments in the constitution and what have you. But all those will come in time.
but then
All this,
our leaders made mistakes. Our leaders made mistakes. They had good intentions, but they made mistakes right after they got the independence. So
yeah. Well,
it questions the fact why they actually got the independence.
I mean, the mistake. Would you call them mistakes though? Would you really call them mistakes?
Okay,
I mean,
fine.
what
Okay, fine.
exactly? What
At that
exactly are
point,
the mistakes?
at that point, they were doing what was necessary, what they thought was necessary, and then looking into, I think it cost the Biafra or the civil war that we had. That structure that they created the civil war, or built tension till that point of the civil war, right? So that's my own opinion. But anyway, um,
Do you think that if there was no military intervention, the civil war would never have happened? Like no military coup to start a military regime in Nigeria. Do you think that civil war would have happened?
hmm, civil war,
I mean,
civil wars,
to me
civil
it's like
wars Civil wars actually happen. They don't. They whether the military comes in or not, the civil wars actually happen as long as there's tension between
yes, yes,
two
yes, as
different.
long as there's tension,
Yes, as long
truly.
as there's
But
tension,
then
right? There's always going to be civil war, right? So
yes,
United States of America,
do you think
they
that
had that.
the acceleration of that tension in our case
Hmm.
came as a result of military rule, or came as a result of, maybe will I call it, ineptitude
Is the military
when it comes to
rule? The
when
military
it
rule
comes to
is
the
there.
military rule.
The military rule gave people power. People that were people that had the means, the power to actually create that tension, right? But then it came from beef. When I say beef, it came from beef of different ethnic groups that say, okay, fine,
Yes, exactly. It actually was.
I want to be the ruler.
It actually
This,
was.
you understand? So it created the tension. There was that tension before, but then that
Yes.
military rule
And
just expanded
you
it.
know that in the when it comes to the military, more things are done with force. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole tactful diplomacy and what have you. Meeting and discussing, sharing ideas. Today you even have people from different political parties meeting and rubbing minds together. You
Yes, yes,
understand?
very true.
That is not what you expect under a military government. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
So had it been
whatever
Nigeria,
tensions,
you
whatever
know,
the underlying tensions there will just be amplified in a
you know,
military government.
do you know that had it been Nigeria got independence and then went straight into democratic rule, things would have not been the same.
It won't have been the same,
But then it would have been worse before it became better. You get?
because in the end, after that civil war, it seems like the troubles were swept under the rug, so they weren't really addressed
They were not
until
addressed. They were
until now, that we have a democratic rule, and it's even though tensions are coming up, but they are still being
Do you know
um
that that same beef of north east west is still there? It has not been solved.
yes, exactly,
There,
that's the point. Like it has actually been it
there's
was
no,
actually swept under the rug.
yes, it was swept under the rug. Nothing was done about it till today. We still have it there. It's still there. That's why IPOB is still there. You
Hmm.
get,
But
and that's why it did not,
it's today that we are now actually making efforts.
and that's why it did not
It's today that we are now
curtail.
making efforts to stop this.
That's why. Yeah, that's true, and that's why the North will tell you that they don't want the Eastern president to rule them, right? For certain reasons, right? They only have relationship with the Westerns, right, in Nigeria. So, at the end of the day, we're not perfect. That's Nigeria's cup of tea at the moment. And we're in it. So Kabiru, it has been a very good chat with you. I debated, and
Exactly.
I now
Very good
feel
one.
I now feel that it is worth celebrating. It is worth celebrating.
Yeah.
Though we have
Thank you for coming to the light.
though we have our faults, though we have our mistakes, and we have
Yeah.
our flaws
Yeah.
too. Um, it is worth celebrating. It's something that we got, and
That's
yeah,
correct.
yeah. All right, now, KB. Before we end, do you have
We
anything for our listeners?
are proud to be Nigerians,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We should all be patriotic citizens and contribute our own quota to the development of the country as a whole. So, whatever issues that we have, whatever differences that we have when it comes to matter of ethnic groups or religious groups and what have you, we should not come into how we interact with each other. It should not impact how we select our leaders. It should not impact, how we see each other basically. So we should always be ready to help one another. We should be ready to work together to ensure that Nigeria becomes the country that we desire it to be. Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
yeah. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Yes, please. This debate that happened on this podcast. If you have any opinion, your opinions, any support, whether you're supporting KB or DDB, anyone, send your message, comment on our Instagram, and then we'll love to have conversations with you. Thank you very
Also,
much.
also, to chip in, remember we also plan to host a Twitter space tomorrow. So whatever your opinions are, you may not need to send it. If you want us to hear your voice, you can join
Yes.
our Twitter space.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yes, yes.
share your opinion. We actually want to know what you think about it. So you just join our Twitter page, and look out for our announcements of the Twitter space concerning this episode. Thank you very much. And David, over to you.
Yeah, and bye. And yes, it is worth celebrating.